Hey guys, this is Ryan from On Mission, and today I have for you week 3 of the what are we doing? The homeschool review subject by subject collaboration. Reminder: this is hosted by April at the Simple Rugged Path, Michelle at the Brave Homeschooling Mama, and Ashley at Joyful Noise Living. And like I said, this is week 3, and we are on to language arts. If you have not already watched them, watch the playlist below and you can see what me and a bunch of other moms are using for science, geography and history, and now language arts. Next week will be our last week to wrap this up. We are going to show you what we're all using for math this year and what we thought of it and if we will be using it again next year. So for language arts, I use a little bit of everything. So we do not have one set curriculum for this, so this might be a little bit all over the place because I have just picked kind of what has worked for us for each of the different parts, and language arts is kind of a broad subject. There's lots of different things that are included in that, so I'm going to try not to make this super long. I will start with my kindergartner. Obviously for kindergarten, your main things that you're going to want to focus on for language arts are handwriting and phonics. So those are the two primary things we focus on with him. And for phonics, we use The Ordinary Parent's Guide to Teaching Reading by Jessie Wise and Sarah Buffington, which are the same people who bring you the Well-Trained Mind stuff. And this curriculum is not intended for just a one-year use. I can't remember exactly how many. There are 231 lessons, so this is really more than you should probably try to tackle in a year if you have a brand new reader. They actually tell you in the front of this that it's meant to be used at your own speed to span as much time as you need to get your child reading. So we started this at the beginning of the school year. We're not even halfway through yet, but that's okay. I plan to continue it into first grade. And how this is set up, I'll just pull up a sample lesson here. They encourage you to do review 2 and 1 new. So you go back the last 2 lessons, review with your child what you learned, and then you do the new lesson. This specific one, you can see it, is using the silent E to make the first vowel say its name or turn it into a long vowel sound. So you have just a tiny bit of instruction. This is like a review section. This is a new part, tiny bit of instruction, and then they just practice using those rules and reading a section with you. And then that one doesn't have it, but occasionally there is, of course I'm not going to find it underneath it. Oh, here it is. Occasionally there is an optional follow-up activity. We typically don't do that. We might once we get to the sections that he's having a little harder time with. But right now he's kind of going at a good pace for this. And then in addition to this, we just use some little readers, either from the library or from our own collection, and just get him practicing his reading. So he's doing pretty well at that. And then for handwriting, I don't have anything to show you because he's used it all, but we used Handwriting Without Tears this year. We did not buy the whole curriculum, so we didn't have the manipulatives, and I didn't even have the teacher's guide. We simply used the workbook, and then I just looked online the different wording they use on how to form the letters correctly, and I just used those with him in between the worksheets and practicing on the whiteboard. It was enough for him, and his handwriting has improved a lot. So those are the 2 basic things we used for him. And now that his Handwriting Without Tears is over, we alternate. One day I'll use the whiteboard and just write a sentence for him, and he has to copy it. Then the next day we will use paper, and I'll write out a sentence for him, and he has to copy it. And it's pretty basic, but it gets the job done. And for my second grader, Jude, we have done a whole bunch of things. He does not need any phonics instruction anymore. So he has just been reading a lot on his own. I make him read some out loud, whether that's during Bible or our read aloud time or whatever it is. I make him read out loud to me just so I can make sure that he is getting good practice at that. So we mostly stick to grammar, writing, spelling, and vocabulary are his 4 main language arts subjects. So for grammar, We use First Language Lessons for the Well-Trained Mind, also by Jessie Wise, and we're on level 2 this year. This is a really short and to the point curriculum, which is why I love it. It has the scripted instructor text and gives you what the student should answer for your questions. And then they use dictation, which we don't do much in the way of that because we use a lot of dictation with our writing program. But we'll do it occasionally. There's poetry memorization in here too, but there's also basic grammar stuff, punctuation and capitalization and the parts of speech and all that good stuff that they got to know. And like I said, it's not flowery and there's not workbook type stuff. It's mostly all oral exercises, but it gets it done, and he really likes it because it doesn't take a lot of time. And then for writing, we use Writing with Ease, and I don't have much to show you on that because I actually, since the workbook has the student and teacher text, sorry, this is really big, in it, I actually break it apart. I cut the binding off and I put the teacher's section in my notebook, and then he gets the student pages in his notebook. I will pull out a page and just kind of show you what it looks like, maybe. Okay, it is a week-by-week program. There are 4 lessons per week. This is week 16. It usually starts off with narration, and so you have a little section that you will read to them, and then they have to answer some questions and then come up with some sort of narration. As it progresses, they try to make it a little harder for the narration, where they have to write it out themselves. And then there's also usually, in addition, usually the next day is copy work or it is dictation. Later in the year, it turns into dictation. It starts off earlier in the year with copy work. And then day 3 is usually more dictation. And then day 4, they combine the two and they have to narrate a passage and dictate it. And then you write it down and then dictate it to them, and they have to write it. So I like this approach. It's not one of his favorite subjects, but I like how this is working. He's definitely progressing in it, and I don't think switching curriculum would help with this. I don't think it's, he doesn't like this curriculum. He doesn't really love writing in general. So this is pretty basic and to the point, like a lot of the Well-Trained Mind stuff is. So it's getting the job done, and we love it. So that being said, we will both be using the First Language Lessons and the Writing with Ease next year. Both of them will be level 3 next year. For spelling, we use Spelling Workout B. And again, I have nothing to show you because I have cut the binding off of that workbook, and he actually has the pages with him in his room right now. He's working on that for his independent work. We love this curriculum, and it does have worksheets. So if you're not a worksheet-based fan, then maybe it's not for you. But he actually likes doing the worksheets, and they are, I think it usually starts off the week with a passage that has the words in it, and usually the first day of the week I just make him go through and highlight the words, and then it has, I think, 3 worksheets, and then, which we do one of those per day, and then on Friday we take the spelling test. And he's really liking it, and we will obviously be using that again next year too, because it's just worked really well for us this year, and so we will be on Spelling Workout C next year. And then for his handwriting, so with his Writing with Ease, he does have to do some handwriting, but that is mostly working on the art of writing itself. I wanted something to do in addition where he could actually work on his penmanship. And so we do, I had it with me, now I lost it. Actually, he took it with him to do in his room, so I don't have it anymore, but I will insert a picture here. We are trying to introduce cursive. We've been doing a little cursive, I think since he was in kindergarten, maybe just first grade, but I want to say it was kindergarten. We use the Prescripts program, which is really popular with classical conversations. And this year we are doing, I have it written down because I never remember. We're doing cursive words and drawing scripture. So every sentence is a piece of scripture, and he just copies it and tries to use his best cursive writing. And it's just one of those things, practice is going to make perfect. So we just do those every other day. We alternate it with some handwriting pages that I cannot remember if I got from my sister, who is an occupational therapy assistant at a public school, or if I just found them online. I can't remember. But they are by Xander Blosser, and it just says school home on it. I don't even know where it is really. Like I said, I don't even remember where I got it. So we didn't do much, just actual penmanship in print the first part of the school year because he's been able to write for a long time. So I just thought, oh, he gets enough practice. But he was getting really sloppy. So I have made him start practicing not only cursive, but also his print again to kind of keep that penmanship up for a while. And I believe that is all we use. I feel like that was a lot of stuff, but I got through it pretty quickly. So that being said, I think we're going to stick with everything we're doing this year. With my kindergartner, I'm not sure on handwriting if we will stick with handwriting without tears next year or not. I will have to look more deeply into what the next level is. I don't think I said, but I think he was doing the kindergarten level. But I will just have to see what they look like. Sorry, there's hummingbirds outside my window and they're really distracting. I'll have to see what that looks like for next year, if we want to continue that or not, or if I just want to kind of switch to what his brother's been doing and use just plain old copy worksheets. And now that he knows how to make his letters. So we'll see. And I will probably start him on cursive next year too. And other than that, I think we're sticking with the same thing. Like I said, my second grader also gets, I forgot to mention, a lot of practice with copy work with his science. Each lesson he has some copy work to do there, and he has a little bit to do with history sometimes. So he gets plenty of writing in there. And anyway, I think that is all we have. So if you have a question about any of these programs that I listed, I would be more than happy to answer them. Just comment down below, and I could either make another video about them or just answer your question in the comments. So don't forget to check out our host channels for more homeschooling content, and don't forget to check out the playlist below to see what other moms used for all these different subjects. And next Friday, we'll be bringing our last subject to you, which is math. So don't forget to check it out, and I will see you next time. Bye.